Welcome to the Morning Constitution, where I confuse you about history and you can no, no. Welcome to the Morning Constitution. Not a time to be funny for me, I guess, but this is the Oxford in Altamont Springs. It's a sports pub and secret society. We'd love to have you come out here. We have a special guest at the 11 o'clock where we're going to talk to Representative David Smith. With all that said and done, let's get down to business. The title is, Gimme 5 on 6, which is like, it's a term that it's not commonly used, but it's $5 on pump six. You don't have to use it. You usually don't have to do that anymore. Some young people probably don't even know what that is because they don't walk in and use cash. Oh, I looked at John because I'm like, I'm wondering if he has ever walked back in the gas station and actually paid cash to fill up that monster, because I don't know if I could afford it. But yeah, so I'm just going to try to say, if I were to ask you 6 things, because you have 6 things that you're dealing with today. So that's going to be your pump. That's where you're at. No, I'm going to ask you about 5 things, excuse me, 5 things. That's your cash that has changed history, that we have 6 results. Nope. Nope. I got that backwards again. No, I said, guys, really, I just trying to be. There are 6 things in our history that truly changed the way the United States runs. The things we deal with every day now are all looking backwards. Why do we look backwards when we should be looking forward? Do you think these were awful times? Awful for the people of the United States when this stuff happened. The American Revolution. It wasn't all dandy being under the rule of a king across an ocean. It ended up in a war that we happened to win. If it weren't for the French, probably wouldn't have. But what has that done for today? That has actually strengthened our relationship with England, strengthened our relationship around the world, because we became a nation that grew and grew to a size and a knowledge, and by our growth and our welcomeness, the way we welcome immigrants to our country, all came to a point where we have all kinds of different ideas. We have all kinds of different cultures that are mixed. So we don't have one specific U.S. Well, we have U.S. football, so that's different. So the Emancipation Proclamation, this freed the slaves. This is during the American Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation declared, just declared, that all enslaved people in Confederate territory were to be set free. That landmark document changed the course of the war, abolished slavery, and laid the foundation for subsequent civil rights movements. So how does the President of the United States put an order in on the Confederate States? Because they were never legally allowed to leave. Women's suffrage changed the world. Women's suffrage brought in more women candidates, more women actually running our government, so that we have a different different way we think, different way we look at things. More women than men. Now you have more voters. You have more voting power than men. So it changes the whole dynamic. These are things that we don't get anybody to tell us about. So the civil rights movement, this absolutely the segregation and criminal and the criminalization against African Americans. This was appalling. This was not right morally. It just stirred in the wrong way. So I'm competing with all kinds of music, so it's kind of fun today. I would say the New Deal. The New Deal changed the nuclear family. The New Deal changed a lot about our country. It was implemented by Franklin Delano Roosevelt in response to the Great Depression. It saved our nation, but set up the stage for later on another Democrat to create the it's just off my head right now. So you get the New Deal. The New Deal is there. You save, you get welfare systems, you have Social Security, you have yeah, I'm sorry about the blowing in there. Yeah, it's so I would say that was a big changing point for us. The Civil War changed our nation forever, but it goes back up to the Emancipation Proclamation. So 6 things with 5 results: freedom for slavery, treating people equally, uh, the government actually helping assist people, tax dollars going into the private back to the people in the form of um, welfare projects. You know, it's hard. If you look at today, and it's going to be different for everybody. Every generation is different because of the things that are in their life. There's not a woman today, that can honestly say that, thinking of the dates, I'm trying to make sure this is right, but that they have ever not had the right to vote. Today, those that live today, because that century's gone. It's moved on. Now, do we have a single person today that that was a slave still alive? I believe we don't. And I believe that the World War II soldiers are coming. World War One soldiers are no longer with us. Where do they go? Where does their history go? Where do the changes go? Men go to war. Women take on jobs. Men come back from war. We have more children, and we have less jobs because you have to fill jobs. The women didn't just leave these jobs. So let's kind of go through my theory. And my theory is simple. you had, you go all the way back to history. Everything we've ever done has been to try to get us to conform. Reason we have government is to make sure that we don't have chaos. We try to make sure that we can get along. We can't get along, we have war. That thins out the population. These are things that are God given. Disease. If there's no war, there's peace, then the actual enemy becomes disease, and we have doctors that fight that war. It's a totally different war. Now, I like the term war when you're talking about fighting a virus or, fighting with another country. I don't like the word war when you start talking about opposition parties, because ideas can't be battled. They can't. That's not the way it's done. They have to be discussed, and then you work that discussion into a compromise. And if you can't compromise, at least come out with something that helps the people, not the government. Republicans like to do that one way, and Democrats like to do it another way. So, what happened? What happened? I mean, you could say whichever pump you stop on or whatever thing, wherever you're at. You notice I haven't mentioned the big ones, the ones that we keep talking about today, because those became, just say it, Joel. Like I'm done. I'm done with this abortion issue. Okay, Roe v. Wade was overturned because it shouldn't have been a federal law. Okay, it should not have been a federal restriction. Each state has the right to run itself on anything that's not in the Constitution. That deteriorates the very fabric of our nation. When we amend the Constitution, it changes the law. Now, as much as I don't appreciate this, the people voting for our senators, because oh no, it's when I get hot. Yeah, no, it's not that. It's just I'm done with this conversation. This is not an argument. Now the argument's now in the state. Okay, that's fine. That's where it belongs. Now, your state wants 6 weeks. Your state wants 5 weeks. Your state wants, you know, 24 weeks. We have a petition going around the state of Florida because, oh my goodness, if the courts say that the legislature can go forward because it doesn't violate the privacy in our Florida Constitution, we're going to have a 6 week. If they win, we'll have 6 weeks. And the advocates want 24 weeks. We did 15 weeks, which, I could bring a few Democrats over with 15 weeks. There are a lot of liberals that kind of think, well, that's a fair assessment. So it's how you deal with it. But Roe v. Wade changed everything for the Democratic Party. I mean, it moved it was the final funnel that moved women predominantly into the Democratic Party. So each one of these groups in the Democratic Party got there after something charged them. Um, Look, Democrats are in the Democratic Party now, majority of them. I feel terrible when I can't speak to I can't speak to them. I can't have a conversation with them because they're set in their ways. So I'm gonna concede, but I'm gonna also say, from my perspective, that the African American population that is actually in the Democratic Party don't believe full heartedly in the stuff that they're actually passing rules for. A lot of them are very faithful, go to church, they know the Bible, they know that their party is not on the moral side, but they vote that way because of a specific portion of the economic engine of the Democrats. Republicans, they're going to the very extreme. They're going to those Christians are actually going to the extremes of, hey, we've got to stop, 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 stop. Let's back up for a minute because this is where I'm at. I want you to just look at each one of these subjects, each one of these things, because each time they happen, something is going on that's hypocritical. Whoo, I got the word out. So you can't look at any single thing that these parties do and not see that it's hypocritical because the one in power pushes all their stuff through, and then then the next time when they're not in power, everything they said when they were in power, they're saying against. Okay, that didn't make sense. Okay, so today, I'm going to give you an example. So today, I control the Senate. If I control the Senate, I control the nomination from the president. Okay, we're too close to an election. We're too close to an election. We can't put a Supreme Court justice on the bench because we're too close to an election. Obama, you can't have this. I said that enough, I guess. That's what you said. You gave all the reasons, right? Then you fall out of power. And so you fall out of power. So then what you do is, even closer to the election, Ruth Bader Ginsburg dies. And now I'm saying, no, it's not fair. We have to get this nomination done now. It has to be somebody on the bench. There's no way. That's it. I mean, I don't have time. This is my only job. I could, but I don't have time to take all the clippings. The media could take all the clippings of Schumer, take all the clippings of McConnell, just take them in a timeline and then switch them. They're saying the same exact thing. The nuts and bolts of the entire conversation is exactly the same. That's where our problem is. And the reason it's exactly the same is because we lack one important thing. And that one important thing is new employees, the bureaucracy around the individuals that are up there. The reason it sounds the same is because it's the same people moving from one office to the next, and they stay for a whole lot longer than they should. So if you ever wonder what's wrong with your government, that's it. I want you to enjoy your day, like our show. Today, I'm a little disappointed because I was not on my game. I have a guest coming, so my mind wasn't here. But everybody, we got to look at these 6 things that I talked about and what changes they made. You look at it. Thanks.